Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz spent the first half of his life in this rural part of Nebraska, about a 5-hour drive from the nearest major airport. Here, the most prominent landscape features are often the grain silos. Some people here see a part of themselves in the vice presidential candidate.
When I see him on TV, he does not remind me of a politician. He reminds me of what would be my favorite teacher in school, because he's really invested in his community and his students, and he really has a high moral compass and good moral values.
Walz was born in West Point, Nebraska, and spent his childhood in Valentine, population 2,600, not exactly known for its political heavy hitters.
We followed Tim's career, I guess, a little bit at a distance. This step, we probably didn't see this one coming.
When Walz was a teenager, his father's lung cancer diagnosis prompted the family to move 160 kilometers to the north, closer to the extended family.
I grew up in Butte, Nebraska, a town of 400 people. I had 24 kids in my high school class.
Walz's family members still live in the area. His uncle, retired farmer Jerome Raymond, says he plans to vote for his nephew, but adds that he is a bit worried the small-town kid he remembers is too kind to confront the big world's challenges.
He was just your average kid. I mean, he was a good guy. Loved sports. Tim isn't going to be tough enough for Putin. It concerns me.
Growing up in the rural Midwest, Walz became an avid fisherman and hunter, not shy about his love of guns. Walz's camouflage hat was embraced by the dirt road Democrats.
Camouflage hunting represents Nebraska, I guess, and we're just taking it back for this ticket.
Following in the footsteps of his father, a Korean War veteran, Walz joined the National Guard at age 17, serving for 24 years. But for some rural voters, Walz's military service and history of gun ownership does not mean he shares the same values.
Nah, he ain't close. He lying through his teeth. That's Second Amendment right. I ain't taking his guns away like they're trying to do us.
Walz also supports abortion rights, which puts him at odds with many in conservative Nebraska, where some churches have memorials for the unborn, and the landscape is dotted with anti-abortion signs.
The most important issue for me has always been pro-life. Whoever is pro-life is who I vote for. He won't get my vote.
Walz received his education degree from Chadron State College, in a town where former President Donald Trump seems to be popular. The college administration recently had to take down his campaign flag after someone hoisted it next to the US flag on campus. Chadron resident Miles Bennon says Tim Walz's local roots do not necessarily translate to support.
There's a lot of families who don't talk about politics very much because there's a lot of disagreements, and I think that there's a lot of people who are comforted by him, but that may not change the way they vote.
Some here say that Walz has given rural Nebraska its 15 minutes of fame, but in this conservative US state, shared roots isn't a guarantee of votes. Natasha, Mozgovaya, VOA News in rural Nebraska.